Today we're going to be taking a look at the Amighty kit by Asmodus. This product was sent to me for the purpose of this review. Let's go ahead, open it up, and see what comes with the kit. Inside of your Amighty kit, you're going to get the Amighty mod, which is a single 21700 or 2700 or 18650 battery mod. You're going to get the Asmodus Viento, I believe is how it's spelled, the Asmodus Viento sub-ohm tank. With the sub-ohm tank, you're also going to get a spare tank section and a spare mesh coil head. And additionally, you're also going to get some spare O-rings for the tank. For the mod, you are going to get a micro USB charging cable for updating and charging, though I do not recommend charging your battery in the mod. Always charge your batteries externally when possible. Additional to the accessories, you're also going to get some literature with your kit. You're going to have several warning cards. The first one I found very useful and important for all users to know. It states that you should not use a battery with an overly recessed positive design. It conflicts with their battery safety protection system that requires a protuberant positive battery connection, and it will not function. So I thought that was really great that they include that, and something that all users should be aware of. And on the other side, it states the same thing. And then of course you have your other battery safety card, which shows you what a safe battery wrap should look like, and there's all the examples of unsafe battery wraps. Additional to that, you also have your Asmodus tank specification sheet, your Amighty 100 watt specification sheet for the mod, and then your Asmodus warranty information as well. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is the Asmodus Viento sub-ohm tank. So the Viento sub-ohm tank is 27 millimeters at the base. It is a slide open top fill mechanism and has dual adjustable bottom airflow here at the bottom. And then of course you also have this nice Cobra ship patterned 810 drip tip. Now the 810 drip tip that is included with this is a drip tip with the O-rings on the stem of the drip tip, and there is no O-rings on the inside of the catch cup there, so just be aware that you do need 810 drip tips with the O-rings on the stem. To fill the tank, you're simply going to locate this little white carrot shaped arrow on the side, and you're going to push open to fill. When you push it open, it's going to slide out and expose your little rubber gasket there, and that's where you're going to fill the device. The juice capacity on this tank is going to be 3.6 milliliters. Looking down here, you can see you have this little decorative protectant band that comes up over the tank. I thought that was a nice touch. Looking down at the bottom here, you do have triple slotted airflow, so you have a slot here, and one more slot on this side. The airflow is on a stopper, and whatever you adjust to one side, it will adjust to the other sides as well. Removing the base here, you can see that that band does come off with the base. It has a little lock in it. Now it does come off of the base easily. It's not held on by any O-rings, but what it does have is a little notch built into the base here where this ring will slide on and fit only one way. Make sure that before you put your glass on there that you make sure that this ring is seated up properly, and that lines up with that back little bump out here is where that notch is located. So you just always line that up just like that, and then it will seat down. Remove our glass tank section, which is held on by a gasket on the top, and on the bottom you have these little gasket type O-rings. Go ahead and place this back on the top there. So here's the top section that houses the slide out mechanism, and there's your chimney. Your chimney does screw down directly into the top of your coil. So here's the coil that comes pre-installed. We'll take this ring off, and that makes it much easier to remove that coil head. Here's what that coil head looks like that's pre-installed. You can see all the little wicking ports there on the side. And this coil head is a 0.15 ohm coil head with a recommended wattage of 50 to 65 watts for best and a full wattage recommendation of 40 to 75 watts. And there you can see like that honeycomb style mesh pattern there and there. And prior to filling my tank, I like to make sure that I prime my coil head. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And to prime my coil head, I'm just going to put a little bit of e-liquid right down the top, on top of the cotton there. And then on each side as well, I'm going to put a couple drops of e-liquid just to fully saturate that coil. And then again, I'm going to place that ring back down on top, making sure that that notch is locked into place. And then I'll set my glass right down inside there. And then I'll go ahead and place the top cap on, carefully making sure to screw that together nice and snug. And now I can go ahead and open the top cap there, slide that open. It is quite stiff. That's one thing I noticed, is when opening this, it's really stiff. So let's see if I can show you a side view of how much it indents my thumb when I open it. So quite stiff there. I don't think it's going to be one of those that is going to come open accidentally in your pocket. No problem at all with filling the tank. Fills up nice and easy. And then we can swing that closed, and we're going to sit that to the side and let that fill up while we take a look at the mod. And here's the Amighty device, 100 watt, temperature controlled, single 21700, 2700, or 18650 battery device. So taking a look at the top, you do have a bit of an odd shaped top here. Now the atomizer that comes with this is 27 millimeters and it fits on here, no problem, no overhang anywhere. I went ahead and took my calipers and measured it on widthwise, and at widthwise here at the smallest part was right here at the front, because you do have these little bump outs. So measuring right here, it's 29.5 millimeters, and measuring 29.5 millimeters this way brings it right about to here. So you are definitely going to be able to fit atomizers of 29.5 millimeters or smaller with no overhang all the way around. When you get the 30 millimeters, you might have just a tiny little overhang here on the sides and maybe just a little bit on the front. But 29 and under is going to have no overhang whatsoever. So you have the spring-loaded 510 at the top. Looking at the front of the device, you have this little dip down, and then underneath you have your fire button. Below that, you're going to have your nice big OLED screen. And below the OLED screen, you are going to have your micro USB charging port. Flipping it over to the back, you can see we have this carbon fiber inlay on it. And I have this very high gloss, high shine, like almost kind of like gunmetal chrome type finish on here, which is a fingerprint magnet, I must say. If we go ahead and pull on the back, we remove the battery door, which is friction fit. It's not held on by any magnets. Inside of your door, you are going to find your little 18650 battery adapter, which is just a clear tube with your contact located on the bottom, and it does specify which direction to place it. So you have your positive and your negative marked clearly on the tube there. Setting that to the side, here on the inside, again, you do have battery markings. It tells you to push up and to put the battery in this side first, which is the spring-loaded side, and you're going to be putting your negative in at the top, pushing up, and then sliding the positive in there down. I really like how Asmodus does that. They do the negative side for the spring-loaded side, which means it's going to reduce the risk of you denting your positive end of your battery. So I do really like that. The door goes on really nice and snug. There's no wiggle, no wobble, or anything like that. Let's go ahead and put a battery in. So we're going to put a single 21700 battery. Pop that down. And when you remove your battery, you also want to make sure that you kind of push up as you're pulling it out. Not that way you don't accidentally tear the top part of your positive battery contact, because Asmodus devices do have a little lip right there that can sometimes catch the edge of your positive side's battery wrap. So make sure when you're putting it in, you push up, and when you're taking it out, you push up as you pull out as well. 5 clicks to turn the device on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you get the color screen there. It automatically boots up into power mode. And like with most of Asmodus's devices, this is a touch screen, so you're going to swipe down to unlock, and then you have the ability to touch the screen, adjust your power. Your power does adjust in 1 watt increments. If you hold down on the arrow, it will fast scroll up to 100 watts and does not round robin. And then you can hold it down on the bottom, and that's going to fast scroll down to 5 watts. Press the fire button to exit. Additionally, on the main menu, you have your preheat function, which can be H for high, N for normal, S for soft. To change that, you simply swipe down on the menu. At the very top, you can see what mode you are in. Right now, we're in power mode. Below that, you're going to have your voltage readout, your ohms, the seconds you hold down the fire button, and your puff counter. Below that, you are going to have your battery bar readout, and then again, as I already described, your preheat function, and then this will tell you whether your device is locked or unlocked. Currently, it is in lock state. So while locking this screen keeps you from being able to adjust anything, you are still able to fire the device. If you want to lock it so as that you don't fire or adjust the screen, 3 clicks of the fire button, and that locks your system, and now you're not able to fire it or adjust anything on the screen. 3 clicks to unlock it. To go into the menu system, it's going to be 5 clicks of the fire button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First thing you're going to see is the power button. That's going to be what allows you to power the device down. Swiping over, you see the edit button. The edit button is for your puff time limitations. This allows you to adjust your puff time. Swiping over, the next one is this little broom icon, and that's going to be puff reset. And then you have eco mode. You have the cloud icon, which is for updating. V for version of the firmware. Now the color screen is going to be for the different colors. You can change the colors of this screen. Then we can go over to the brightness indicator. So we have it all the way set to 10. So this is as bright as the screen gets. Then you have 2 different ways to lock the device. You can either slide to lock or click to lock. And then you have your puff timer, which is going to be 10 seconds. You have your resistance reading where you can adjust your resistance. And then we go back to the power button to turn off the device. If you wish to change from power mode, you'll simply swipe down to unlock the device, and then you're going to swipe to the right or left. Swiping to the right or left, you'll have temp mode, curve, TCR, TFR, and then back to power mode. Once you're in temperature control, to change the metal that you're using, you're simply going to click on the temp there, and that's going to open up another menu, and there you can scroll through all the different metals. Click the fire button to select it. Here you can toggle between wattage and your degrees. Here's what the Asmodus Amighty looks like with the Asmodus Viento sub-ohm tank on top. And that is the Amighty kit. Let's go back up top, have a vape on it, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions. Okay, and that was an up-close look at the Asmodus Amighty kit. So what are my thoughts? Well, let's start with the tank first. So the tank on here, I've been really pleasantly surprised with. I'm really enjoying this sub-ohm tank. Now, I will say there are a couple things that I think could be better on this tank, but we'll get into that into a minute. First thing I'm going to talk about is fit and finish on the tank. Fit and finish on the tank is great. Threading, the slide open cap, the drip tip, everything fits together really nicely nicely, and Asmodus always does a really good job on their quality control, so really happy with fit and finish on the tank. The next pro on this is going to be the slide open to fill. It's nice and stiff, so I don't feel like it's going to be opening up on accident by itself. It also has a nice little indicator on there, so I can always find that and I know where to push. Some sub-ohm tanks that have slide open to fill don't always have that indicator. The fact that they made that in a nice bright bold white is really helpful for figuring out where to push to fill the tank. So filling the tank, really easy. Now the drip tip on it is a TFV8 Baby Bee style drip tip. It's one of those that has the O-rings on the drip tip. It is 810 size, however, you're not going to be able to use a lot of aftermarket drip tips if they don't have the O-rings on the stem, so that might be seen as a con. E-liquid capacity on this, I think the e-liquid capacity is great for this style of device. Have no problems with it. It is one of those that I am going to fill several times throughout the day, but that's kind of expected with almost all tanks unless you've got like a 6 or 7 mil capacity tank. This one does just fine for me. I actually like that little accent detail that they did on there. That little beauty ring that goes over the tank, I think is a nice little change up from a lot of the sub-ohm tanks that we see currently on the market. Now, it does mean that there's not going to be a bubble glass that you're going to be able to fit on there with that accent ring, but I like the accent ring. I think it just breaks it up, makes it a little different. The triple airflow on here, nice and smooth. It is a bit on the little bit louder, more hollow side. I'll let you go ahead and listen to that real quick. So there's the airflow wide open, tons of airflow with that triple slot there. And I'll go ahead and turn it down to halfway for you. And there it is halfway, and I vape it about 3/4 of the way open. I'll go ahead and let you hear that. And vaping it 3/4 of the way open just gives it a slight restrictiveness and bumps up that flavor a little bit. Now the mesh coil heads that I am using in here that came with the tank itself, I have noticed one thing, and that's going to be longevity. Break-in time on this thing is pretty small. I didn't have to go through a whole tank of e-liquid. I would say probably about 1 to 1.5 milliliters of e-liquid before that cottony taste went away. But something I am noticing is that I'm getting towards the end of my coil. I'm starting to taste a little bit of dryness even though the tank is full, and the flavor is waning a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of an off flavor. Now I have pushed about 70 milliliters of e-liquid through this coil head, so that is quite a bit, but not where I usually. For me, a great coil head is a coil head that you can push 100 milliliters of e-liquid. Now that is going to vary depending on the e-liquid that you're using. Some e-liquids gunk up coils much quicker than others, but the e-liquid I'm using is one that I've tested in many devices, and I can usually get close to that 100 mil mark. This one looks at about 70 milliliters, and you're going to need to change your coil head. So not bad. I mean, I've had coils that get way less milliliters of e-liquid pushed through them, but also not the best coil out there. It does produce good flavor and good vapor while it is working though. Now let's talk about the mod. Fit and finish on the mod, great, superb. I have no complaints whatsoever about the fit and finish of this mod. Design aesthetic wise, I love the way it feels in your hand when you're finger firing it. Now, when you're finger firing it, this is not a mod to me that is very comfortable thumb firing. And the reason for that is the way that this protrudes out and the way that this protrudes out. So when I'm holding it this way, my thumb is kind of resting this way and it hits that little protrusion there, and I have to bend my thumb to the side to fire it, and that's just not comfortable holding it that way for me. But if you're somebody that likes to finger fire, this thing is super comfortable. The way it sits in your hand, that curve out just sits right there in that round part of between your thumb and your finger, and then your finger rests right underneath that lip across the fire button, and you can just squeeze and fire the device. really nice and comfortable that way, and both in left or right hand. It is really comfortable to finger fire this device. As far as the menu system goes, it is the Asmodus chipset that we all know and love. It is completely touchscreen. I have had no problems with it reacting to my touches. It unlocks very easily, one swipe down and I'm into it, I'm unlocked and all of that. So the menu system on here, I've reviewed lots of Asmodus devices with this menu system and it works great. I do like the customization of the colors, so you can change the accents on there. I have this one in purple. The next pro to this is going to be there is a single 21700, 2700 or 18650 battery mod with the adapter. So you got versatility in the type of batteries you can use. With a single 21700 battery, I'm able to use a much higher capacity battery and get much longer battery life out of it. As far as battery life goes, I always end up going through two 21700 batteries per day in this mod. So not bad at all. Does really good on battery conservation. And that's my thoughts on the Asmodus Amighty kit. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, click that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time. Bye-bye.